Hi, tonight I want to teach you guys 3 simple tricks that can really help you feel better about something that's causing you pain. No matter how complicated or difficult your situation is, this can really bring some relief. So, are you ready? Okay, step 1 is to write down all of your thoughts about it. We call this a thought download. What happens when you dump all of your thoughts out of your brain and onto paper is that they're no longer all just this big jumbled up, confusing mess. They suddenly become real, and it's easier to step back and get some perspective on them. Step 2 is once you have all of your thoughts and feelings written down, this is the fun part, you're going to make 2 sections on a piece of paper and label one circumstances and the other one thoughts. And the only things that you can put in the circumstance column is things that are actually factual. There's no opinion or meaning involved. They're the boring facts. And everyone in the world would agree that it's a fact. It's the actual math of the story. And most importantly, it's neutral. So it's not positive and it's not negative. In the thought column, you're going to write all the parts of the story that give meaning to the circumstance. So these are subjective, meaning that they can't be proven in a court of law, and different people would have different thoughts about it. And the reason why it's important to realize that these are just thoughts, not circumstances, is because suddenly you can see that they're actually optional. And this is great news because we get to believe whatever we want to believe about anything. So empowering, right? And the other reason why it really helps to see that your thoughts are only thoughts is because our thoughts are what create our feelings. So if we can believe that something, something that is going to make us feel better, it might be a good idea to consider doing that. Step 3 is to decide if you want to keep the thoughts that aren't serving you. You can think and feel however you want to think and feel. And sometimes you're going to want to feel mad or sad about something. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But what's amazing is that you get to decide. And that can really make all the difference in the way that you feel about life. So I'm going to show you a little example from something that happened to me a few years ago. So my husband and I were scheduled to go on a cruise, and we got on the airplane and we flew to Texas. We had a stopover in Dallas before we got to Houston, where we were going to get on the boat. So when we got to Dallas, there was bad weather and our flight kept getting delayed and getting delayed and getting delayed. And so we missed our opportunity to get on a flight that would get us to the ship on time in Houston. And it made it so that we missed the ship, basically. So I want to show you how, if I was sitting there in that situation and just feeling awful and panicky and worried, I could sit down and write down all of my thoughts and feelings about it, and then I could separate my feelings from my thoughts from the circumstances, and it would really, really help me to gain some traction and feel better. So here is, this is just a really shortened version of what I would do, but on the top here, this is the thought download. So we missed our flight, which means that we're going to miss the ship takeoff, okay? That's the first thing. The second is, this is going to ruin our trip, and we have bad luck whenever we travel. So these are just 3 things that I probably would have written down. So I would take those 3 things and I would separate them into circumstances and thoughts. So if I look at these 3 things, the only thing that's an actual fact and that anyone in the world would agree with is the fact that we missed the opportunity to get on the ship at the right time. That is just a fact. That's not anything that can be argued. We missed the ship, right? So the other things, this is going to ruin our trip, and we have bad luck whenever we travel. Those are just thoughts. So I could have looked at my thoughts and I could have decided, okay, when I think this thought, this makes me feel really, really horrible, right? So do I want to keep thinking these? And I could have thought, like, like this is going to ruin my trip. I could have thought, that thought is optional. What's a different way that I could think about this? And what was interesting with this actual situation is that we started thinking, like, I wonder what could actually make our trip more amazing because we missed the ship. And we took the opportunity to, once we got to Houston, we stayed in Houston for a night, and then we took a flight down to one of the ports and spent 2 days there just living the local life and just relaxing and enjoying ourselves. It did cost us more money, but it made the experience just so much more amazing. So this is just an example. It's a super shortened example, but I just recommend that you try this because this is how we coach. When I'm coaching someone, I separate all the circumstances from the thoughts, and then I help people to see that some of these things that they're thinking are just optional, and there might be another way that they can think about it that would serve them and help them to feel better. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Have a good night. Bye-bye.